All right, you're good to go.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an off-season edition of Tater Talk. We're finally back. We had the World Series. At least Zach and I celebrated it for a little bit, but the celebration's over. We're back recording an off-season edition of the pod. Graz is back as well. He actually wasn't in the World Series episode. He's been very busy lately. So I want to ask you, Graz, before we jump into this episode, what were your immediate, because we didn't really get that from you. What were your immediate, try to take yourself back to early November, late October. Take me through the mind of a Yankee fan at that point in time, and then we'll jump into the offseason where your mind is at now.
So what I don't understand about Red Sox fans is this insane ability where winning World Series isn't enough and that it has to be an anti-Yankees thing. So they chant Yankees suck at the parade. They chant it at the Patriots game. So what I'm saying is, how much property do we own in an entire city's head where everything has to be about us? Enjoy your championship. You were the best team all year. Mookie Betts was the best player all year. It was very fun to watch. I actually enjoy your team, which kind of kills me a little bit because I like a lot of the parts of your team. But it's just sad that, we have to be in your mindset, in your conscience everywhere you go. Big brother.
Zach, do you want to rebuttal first, or do you want me to do it?
No, I think we mentioned it when we were celebrating the Red Sox World Series, that circle jerk episode we had. The Yankee fans that I grew up with here in Connecticut, they have been so quiet. And growing up, they were the loudest people in the room, always talking about their rings, talking about 2003, all that good stuff. Obviously, the 2004, 7, 13 victories have given us a little bit to talk back with, but I cannot believe Yankee fans have just cowered in this. We're their daddies now. It's crazy to say, but
what I think about it is, say the tables were turned and the Yankees were World Series champs. You don't think Yankee fans would be doing the exact same thing? I mean, they were chanting "We want Boston" before the season. Before the series even started. There was that. There was Aaron Judge playing New York, New York outside the Red Sox clubhouse. All this stuff was going I'm actually happy it's all happening because that means there's at least a semblance of a rivalry. That's still, it's not dead. It's actually kind of alive now. I don't know if it's going to be like this upcoming season, but we actually saw a glimpse of it this season and during the postseason. So I was happy to see it. I want fans to hate each other. I want it to be like 2004. So I'm happy with it.
Here's the thing. The rivalry was dead and everyone was talking about it, and I will pronounce it dead. It's now rebirthed very simply because both teams are now really good, and every year for the next 5 years, one of these teams should be in, if not winning the World Series, if things are going the same way as they should. So that's why it makes it very exciting on the rivalry side. The other side of it is you guys are all excited and you're feeling great, and you're like, your whole city is, feeling good, and, all of your sports teams, including the Red Sox, are doing well. It's great. Do you know how long it was for you guys to get to this point? Do you know how much you're losing? Like, go talk to your dad. Like, Jesus Christ. You were living in this era where you guys think is everything given to you. Let me tell you, it's going to hit you in the face, really fun, and then I'm going to be loud again. But right now, you can't be loud.
Me and Zach kind of touched on I'm pretty sure we touched on that on the last episode. We are very spoiled, and most Boston fans will admit that they are very spoiled. And then you have a whole other group of Boston fans that doesn't even realize how spoiled they are. And a lot of them are the loud minority that is screaming Yankees suck at the parade and doing all that stuff. It's going to, I agree with you. It's going to come back to bite a lot of Boston fans when all four of the teams, one of these days, it's going to go back to what it was when all the teams sucked. And I'm aware of it. So that's why I'm trying to live in the moment now and brag about championships now, because I'm aware it's not going to always be like this, but it's hard to actually put yourself in that when the last time we actually had that mindset was when we were like 10, 11 years old. It's crazy.
I think this World Series broke it out of it for me because my dad's a huge Boston fan as well, and he's got me thinking the worst is going to happen in every game. So that's the way I'm conditioned to think. But I can't think that way anymore. And I tell my dad, I'm like, your generation are just losers. When we grew up, we finally got the right people in. We got smart people involved in these organizations, and we've won. There's no surprise there. So
Yeah. Since we're already on the subject of Red Sox and Yankees, I guess we'll start with what they've been up to this offseason. Starting with the Red Sox, they've been pretty quiet. They did bring back World Series MVP Steve Pearce, which I can't believe I'm saying that. Like it's crazy. Now that time has actually passed.
Yeah.
Imagine it's baseball so weird. It's just so weird. Back in May, if I was like, dude, I'm telling you, Steve Pearce, World Series MVP this year, regardless of if I named a team or not.
Time out. I knew that guy was winning the World Series MVP when he hit 3 home runs against the Yankees. I knew that immediately. I'm like, this guy's going to be fucking people in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to think that at that point, but Steve Pearce is not a name that even crosses your mind during any season ever. Like, yeah, he's a guy who will hit the ball out of the ballpark every now and then. He's been like, he hits lefties extremely well. He's a platoon guy. No one saw this coming. I probably would have given the World Series MVP to David Price, but Steve Pearce obviously was very deserving as well. Like I'm happy he deserved it. It's just a bizarre story. But anyways, the Red Sox re-sign him. I'm happy to see it. I mean, at least they know that they'll have another bat in the lineup that can actually hit lefties. The Red Sox had some trouble against lefties this season. So I'm happy to have him back. He's a character guy. He's a guy who's going to be great for the clubhouse this year. So I'm happy to have him back.
Yeah, they had to bring him back after what he did in the World Series, and I think it's only a 1-year deal, right? So it's not like we're tied to him for the future because he is pretty old at this point. I mean, the fans would have rioted if we didn't bring back Steve Pearce.
It's so weird to say that too.
Yeah.
So it's Pearce and then a guy that I know Red Sox fans really don't care about, Tyler Thornburg. I mean, whatever. If he can actually be, I don't even think he didn't make the postseason roster. If he can be what he was before he came over to the Red Sox, before he had all the injuries, that would be a godsend. But who knows what to expect from this guy at this point? We can kind of skip over the Thornburg talk for the sake of our listeners. I don't know if they would want us to talk too much about him. And then on the Yankees side, now earlier in the offseason, a lot of time's passed since then, but it's definitely worth mentioning because we haven't had an episode, is the Yankees traded for left-hander James Paxton. I almost called him an ace. I don't think he's an ace. I think he's a very strong number one. When I think ace, I think like Chris Sale and like Noah Syndergaard, like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, like all these kind of guys. I don't really think James Paxton, but I do think the Yankees, obviously the Yankees improved their rotation big time with this. I still think there's another move to be made. We'll get to that in a little bit, but they trade away their top pitching prospect, Justice Sheffield, who, I mean, I haven't heard a ton about. I'm not going to pretend I'm the biggest prospect guy, but Graz, what do you think about who the Yankees gave away here in Justice Sheffield? Are you happy with the trade? What were your, knee-jerk reactions to it?
So my initial reaction is like, for every weird Yankee fan, we're addicted with these prospects like the Clint Frazier's of the world and the Gleyber Torres, which worked out. But eventually you're going to have to start moving these prospects because all the talent that's getting to the majors is right now.
Right.
So that means you have to start winning in the next 5 years, meaning the prospects that are still prospects, you need to do something now. Also, I'm just a big James Paxton guy myself.
Big Maple.
Yeah, Big Maple. Maybe the best nickname in baseball. Just throwing it out there right now. Current nickname. Don't yell at me. Current nickname.
No, I like it. I like that name.
It's awesome. 2, an eagle landed on him, completely not related to pitching. Then pitching prospect. He's been pitching more and more innings as the years have gone on, as well as his ERA has been going down with a couple, here and there every couple years. He's good. I don't think he's a 1 either. I think he's a 2. But you put him, Sevy, and Tanaka in a playoff series, I'm very happy about it.
All right. So do you think there's still one more move that needs to be made in order for the Yankees to actually make a deep playoff run? Or are you happy? Say you go into the season with this roster, maybe 1 or 2 other minor acquisitions. Are you satisfied or are you pissed because you didn't get that one more pitcher?
That you need to add another pitcher. Okay. And we're going to get to Corbin, obviously.
Yeah, we will. That's a tease for you folks.
But they need to add someone, even if it is someone like a J.A. Happ to bring him back. Just you need another arm because CeCe won't go the whole year. He's going to get hurt. He's an old guy. And the other pitcher, Montgomery, is coming off an injury. And you have no idea what he's going to be, even though I'm a big fan of him. So
I cannot wait to
know.
watch Steve Pierce just homer off James Paxton. I just can't wait for that.
Yep. Zach, do you have any hard-hitting takeaways from this deal?
No, like I would ask Graz. I mean, Paxton or Corbin, who would you rather have? I guess.
Paxton, and really only
Wow.
because he's an AL guy. I don't like the NL guys coming to the AL.
I completely agree with that. I think there's something to be said. Sometimes these NL guys come over to the AL and their ERA spikes like an entire. Yeah. It's insane how that, and it's the opposite effect. It just goes to show you how superior the AL has been for years now.
I'm interested to see how Paxton fits in because I think personality-wise, I'm interested to see if that's a fit because I don't think it really is. I think he's a Canadian guy, like small city. I don't know how he'll handle the Yankees. He wears a beard, so that always concerns me with guys that go to the Yankees. So we'll see how he can handle the big city.
He doesn't have to be the guy, though. That's the best part of it. He could just be a cog in a 2-3 in a good rotation.
Well, it's just like what Graz said about going from the AL to the NL. I think there's something to be said, obviously, for a guy who goes from a small market to a big market. Going from Seattle to the Bronx is a very big change. We'll see how he adjusts to that. And this is just a quick little note on that. Zach Greinke, who I think we're also going to get to him in a little bit. Zach Greinke openly admitted, I guess, to like he just does not want all of his no trade teams are big market teams. He's like, yeah, I know I won't succeed there. I know he has anxiety issues and everything, but I don't think Greinke's the only one. I think Greinke might be one of the only guys who actually openly admits it. There's guys out there who straight up cannot perform in those environments. We'll see if Paxton's one of those guys. He doesn't strike me as one of those guys, but I just think there's something to be said. There's guys who shit themselves in New York, in Boston, in Chicago, places like that. So on to the next one. Let's stick with the Yankees for a split second. Graz, I know you have to have some sort of hot take about Torreyes getting traded to the Cubs.
He is a Yankee. Torreyes is the Yankees. The team is not the same without Toe. They needed the roster spot. I don't know what you want to tell me.
He's such a rat.
Well, you know what? Didn't Torreyes get designated for assignment like right away? Like, didn't he get released right away? So, I mean, I feel bad for the guy.
He might come back.
Can the Red Sox do this with Brock Holt? Seriously?
You're not a Brock Holt guy? The cycle didn't win you over?
There is an unnamed person that was a person that I don't like particularly much. I'll start there. That is trying to convince me that Brock Holt was the reason why the Red Sox are a World Series team. I'm like, you have 2 MVP candidates. If you talk to me about Brock Holt again, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Listen, I love Brock Holt, and I actually do think he was a very solid player towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. He's not the reason the Red Sox won the World Series.
No, he's no Steve Pierce.
I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that.
It's crazy we're having these conversations, Steve.
Yeah, not the reason the Red Sox won the World Series. I promise. So one of the bigger moves, we'll move on. This is a free agent signing. I mean, we're talking about trades here, but a free agent signing that actually, I think it was the first big one of the offseason was Josh Donaldson to the Atlanta Braves on a 1-year deal worth $23 million. So it's an interesting deal to me because, yeah, I mean, Josh Donaldson, he's a former MVP. When he's healthy, he's a stud. There's no doubt about that. It's interesting how they're going, oh, yeah, 1 year. Like, they don't have the confidence to offer him multiple years. It's 1 year. Let's see what he's got. But we're going to dish out $23 million for this guy who we clearly don't have the most confidence in coming in and making the biggest impact. I don't hate the deal. I just think 23 mil is a bit much, but maybe they had to outbid. I know the Cardinals were involved in negotiations. I think the Brewers were. So Atlanta had to do what they had to do to bring him in. It'd be interesting the impact that he makes. What do you guys think about the deal?
I think Josh Donaldson is what I like to call martyr mode, similar to what Ndamukong Suh is in the NFL. Like, he'll just go any place where he can win and take a huge contract. So I think he sees the Braves as an up-and-coming team. And the Braves have been trying to fill that third base spot. They had Jose Padista. They have that Camargo guy who they play at third. So
I like Camargo too. So yeah, I'm surprised.
Why are they so against Camargo? They're like, we need to fill third base. Camargo is fine defensively,
very solid,
good hitter. Maybe they want to put him someplace else. But
my conspiracy theory is that they're setting up to deal Dansby Swanson, and they're going to move Camargo over to short. Now, I mean, whether that happens, I have no idea. It's crazy to think that they're just going to give up on Swanson, a former #1 overall pick. But that's the way I see it because Camargo has been better than Swanson the past couple of years. Camargo is one of the more underrated players on that Braves team. So bringing in Donaldson's a superior player. We're not debating that. Donaldson is a bona fide stud. I just don't know. I guess I understand the deal. It's a 1-year deal, low risk. We'll see how it plays out. We'll put it that way.
I think it's also like, let's get some veteran guys in this clubhouse too. And I know we'll talk about Brian McCann. Let's get some guys that have been there, done that in the playoffs so they can teach these young guys how to sort of do it here because they have a lot of young players right now.
Yeah, and McCann back to the Braves obviously is a good story too. I'm not the biggest Brian McCann fan, but I mean it's him and Donaldson, like you said, that veteran presence is going to help this young Braves team. Acuna and Albies should take a step forward next year. So this is going to be an intriguing team to watch, and we have a lot of NL East talk for sure in this podcast. A lot of moves being made in the NL East, a lot of moves that could still be made in the NL East. Now, but yeah, go ahead.
Just throwing it out there. You know what would have really helped at third base for the Braves? If they didn't draft Dansby. Wait, no, they didn't draft him. It wasn't the
Diamondbacks.
Oh, never mind. I was just going to say Bregman was drafted after.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, Diamondbacks drafted him. That was the
Shelby Miller.
Yep.
That was robbery.
And at that time, though, we were like, oh, my God, big trade. It's not that big. Okay. Now let's go over the AL Central very quickly. Alex Colomé, the Mariners, I mean, they're having a fire sale, which we're going to cover that completely here. Alex Colomé is one of those moves. He was traded to the White Sox. No big takeaways from this one. Obviously, Colomé is a name. He's a reliever who is actually a name. It's hard to find those kind of guys these days. What do you guys think? Like, how soon do you think the White Sox are going to be a competitive team?
Yeah, this was an interesting move to me because it's a win now move, but it's also we can trade him at the deadline move too because he's like relievers are always in demand at the deadline. So this was an interesting move. The White Sox, I still think they're 2 to 3 years away just because I don't think the Indians are going anywhere with their good rotation. They're good young players in that division. So yeah, we'll see what they do. The White Sox, they do this every couple of years. They bring some young players along, then they try to win with them, and if they don't, they fire sale. So I wouldn't be surprised the White Sox fire sale at the same time.
I keep seeing Bryce Harper's name attached to the White Sox too, which makes me think the White Sox are like thinking about going for it. I don't think that's the smartest move. I mean, they just spent so much time rebuilding their farm system and everything that it seems like they should maybe be a little bit patient, like they have been, wait a couple years and then compete. I don't know if breaking the bank on Harper is the best move right this second. We also have another AL Central move that, I mean, I don't know if you guys care about. It's on the list. CJ Cron to the Twins. I mean, he was released by the Rays after being traded there by the Angels. He's just a guy. He's just a guy in the lineup. He can hit it out of the park. He's just a guy. So the Twins got a guy. Logan Morrison obviously sucks, so I don't think they have him anymore. So they brought in just another one of these guys.
They just bring in these big white guys who can
just bring in these guys
like 210. Yeah.
Yeah. So classic Twins move. So sticking to the Mariners fire sale here. The big one was Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz being shipped out of Seattle for Jay Bruce, Anthony Swarzak, and some top prospects who, again, I want to make it clear, I'm not a prospect guy, but when I go over Twitter and I see Mets fans pissed that they gave up this Kalanick guy and they gave up this other guy who I don't know his name right now, and I'm not going to look it up, but I guess they gave up some pretty big pieces here. I don't know what the Mets are doing, really. I know they have a new GM. I don't know what's going on. That guy said maybe he has a plan all set up and he's just trying to make it work right now. I don't get it. Robinson Cano they owe him a boatload of money. They took the entire contract, I'm pretty sure. And Edwin Diaz is like a close. You're going to give up your prospects for a closer who had one really, really good year. I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Let me just say this. Like, I've been listening to some New York sports talk radio. Mets fans are the most confused baseball fans. They don't know what is a good move and what isn't. But I don't blame them for this because in this situation, because I don't know if this is a good move or not. Because I think if this is just a singular move, it's a terrible trade. But if there's other moves that need to be made in free agency to sign maybe a Machado or a Harper, I think it's a decent move, like win now move. Now that the Yankees are hot, the Mets want to get some of that billboard and newspaper headlines as well. So they have a new GM, like you said, Brody Van Wegenen, I think his name is. So he's trying to shake things up.
He used to be Cano's agent, I'm pretty sure.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so. I'm not a big closer guy, and I think I'm not a big Cano guy, so I don't like the players actually in the deal. And like you said, they gave up their future pretty much. They're some of their top prospects.
Cano will be a bat. I mean, they need a bat, and they got a guy who can produce offensively in Cano, obviously. They finally have a guy they can count on, you would think, at the end of games in Diaz. It's just how much longer can Cano be an offensive I don't want to call him even an offensive juggernaut at this point, but he's a guy who can put runs on the board. How much longer can he do it? And then his defense has been steadily declining over the last few years. So again, I understand why Mets are pissed about this, but if you're a Mets fan, all you can really do is be optimistic and hope that this leads to something. Oftentimes we see these kind of deals that get criticized, and next thing you know you have a team that's actually kind of competitive if more deals get made. So we'll see what Brody Van, whatever the fuck his name is, whatever he does this offseason. I don't think the Mets are close to done this offseason, so we'll see what he's got.
I have a couple things.
Go ahead.
New York perspective, I have a lot of Mets fans, friends. They're miserable about it.
Yeah.
They think Cano is awful, and I know he's not awful, but trying to convince them that he is still okay, they don't believe it at all. It's a win now mode. It's pretty much they have the pitchers, they're going to go for it this year, next year, and then they'll figure it out from there, which is very interesting. I have a question for you, but before I get to the question for you guys, one of the players who got traded is Justin Dunn. That's probably who you forgot. He was their first overall, one of their first round picks.
Yep.
Boston College guy. I've seen him pitch a lot when he was at college. The guy has good stuff. He's going to be a 2-3 starting pitcher in a rotation someday. He throws 94 with a good curveball and good slider. That's a big thing, especially when these other pitchers are moving on. I'm a big fan of him because I saw him pitch at school.
And
hey, Mike.
I don't trust guy from guys. Yeah, me neither.
Are you kidding me? Chris Shaw, he's hitting dingers for the Giants.
I mean, I'm a UConn guy. I'm a George Springer, Matt Barnes type of guy. So,
that UConn football team had a really good year. Okay, moving on.
Oh, yikes.
Question for you guys.
Shots fired.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think how different would things be? Because they just traded for a hitting second baseman if the Mets actually signed Daniel Murphy.
Different. Definitely different. Yeah, no, I don't know.
That would have changed everything. That's what
it would have. No, it definitely would have. I don't know the type of team the Mets are trying to build. I think it's more the uncertainty with the Mets right now than anything. I don't know if Mets fans know what direction the team's heading in. I think, for example, Seattle, they're clearly rebuilding. The fan base knows that. Everybody knows that. They have a mission. They have a goal. Just be better in a couple of years. I like what they're doing. And you guys know every year I say the same thing about the Mariners. Don't fall for the trap. I think if they execute this rebuild well, they'll be fine. They'll be back to being a pretty competitive team. The Mets have no direction right now. Nobody knows where they're going in. So that's the issue. Obviously, they're acquiring talented players, but giving up top prospects for guys who are only going to give you really a couple years of production, and they're pretty expensive, that's tough for a fan base to get behind.
I wouldn't be surprised if they honestly have Syndergaard on the block as well, trying to get another player.
Well, that was the rumor all offseason and actually throughout the season too. And now Brody, our guy Brody, is saying that they would have to be overwhelmed in order to give away. They're backtracking on the whole Syndergaard thing. So
that just lets you know they have no plan.
Right, exactly. That goes back to what I say. At least have some sort of plan. Commit to what you're doing. If they're unwilling to give away Syndergaard, that's obviously okay, we change our mind. We're going to try to win it this year, which you're the Mets. You're not going to win it this year.
I'm going to jump in while we're talking about the Mets. So my best friend Andrew asked a question. I'm just going to ask you guys now. Little teaser for the mailbag question later.
Yep.
So this is exactly what he texted me earlier. So basically everything we're hearing out of the Mets reporters and personnel is that they aren't done after this Diaz trade. But Brody has come out yesterday, meaning 2 days ago, and said that Syndergaard is now off the table.
Right.
What other moves do you think they should do? What are the other good ones? What direction would you guys send the Mets in.
I'm seeing a lot of JT Realmuto rumors. Those have been flying across my timeline these last couple of days. I think that'd be an awesome move for them. I'm a very big JT Realmuto fan. He kind of gets buried. He's been buried these last few years on the Marlins, and he's arguably the best catcher in the game. The Mets have needed catching help for God knows how long now. It's an excellent fit for the Mets. If they get him, I might actually be on board with our guy Brody and what he's trying to accomplish. Zach, any hot takes on the Mets?
No, like I love Real Muto, but I think they're gonna have to pay a heavy price to get him. So
yeah, that's the thing is the Marlins want major league ready talent. Who do you give up there?
I think they're talking about Nimmo, which I like Nimmo, so I wouldn't give him up.
Or Conforto, but that's the backbone of your team.
I'd give up Nimmo in a Realmuto trade, but I don't know. There's a lot that's gonna go into that. That's a tough call to make. I think if I had to pick a destination, though, right this second, the Mets just seem like a perfect fit. I mean, they do have pieces they can part ways with in a trade for Realmuto, and it doesn't seem like Brody is very afraid to part ways with guys. So, okay, more Mariners fire sale talk. Gene Segura to the Phillies for J.P. Crawford and Carlos Santana. I think there might have been a couple other small pieces in there, but that's the gist of it. And I'm a big fan of this trade for the Phillies. I still think they're going to go after Machado, but I think this at least lessens the chances of Machado going there. Segura was top 10 in pretty much every single hitting category in the AL last season. So big fan of this move for the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm a big Gene Segura guy, and I think the Phillies have been looking to make a splash, sort of like the Mets have, and this was probably the precursor to something larger. Like you said, the Mariners are in fire sale mode. I think Gene Segura is a real solid player. I'm interested to see how J.P. Crawford does with the Mariners because I know he was a top prospect that everyone was in love with. So never really caught on with the Phillies, but I think he could have a rebirth with the Mariners for sure.
What do you guys think? Do you think Carlos Santana is just done being a productive player, or do you think he has kind of a bounce back here with the Mariners?
I don't know. He seems like he's putting on a lot of weight and is a little bit lazy. That's just like my take on him. So I don't think he'll ever be sort of that 4-5 bat that everyone kind of thought he was when the Phillies signed him for crazy amount of money last summer.
Yeah, it seems more of just you're getting a veteran, I guess, on a team that's rebuilding. I think he's still a bat. I think he's a guy who can have sort of a bounce back season, but I don't think he's the Carlos Santana that we saw on the Indians. I think that Santana's gone. So let's get to the big one here. Let's just jump right into it. Patrick Corbin, was it yesterday he signed or 2 days ago?
I think it was yesterday.
Whatever it was, he signed to the Nationals for 6 years, $140 million. He got paid, got his long-term deal. I got to admit, I didn't see this coming. I saw the Nationals in tweets along with the Phillies and the Yankees, and I really thought he was going to go to one of those two teams. My money was on the Yankees. Didn't happen. Goes to Washington. He joins Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg at the top of that rotation. Big pickup for the Nationals. They're showing they still want to win. I mean, they're not, whether or not they lose Harper, they're still going to be going for it. So Patrick Corbin, this is a big money deal. I guess the Yankees didn't want to give the 6th year. I don't think the Phillies did either. So I'll let Graz go first on this one. What are your thoughts?
My thing is are the Nationals still convincing themselves that they're a good team? Like, other than Scherzer and Strasburg, who on that team scares you? And Soto. Like, everyone's old and beaten up. Like, that's like, I don't know why they're making this move. Yankees wise, I understand why you don't want the 6th year. Like, it's that 5-year thing that's now what JD Martinez agreed to the 5-year deal too.
Right.
Like that one extra year for some reason is this big headache. So obviously it's frustrating that we didn't get him, but I totally get and understand why.
Right. So
I'm just confused Nationals wise. Why are you signing this guy? Like, you're losing Harper.
6 years for the Nationals to give that is definitely strange. Again, that's why I didn't see it coming. I thought it was the Yankees, Phillies, and then everyone else was just kind of in talks, but not in serious talks. It was the way this whole thing unfolded was strange because the insiders were like giving the terms of the deal before even announcing a team. They're like, oh, Patrick Corbin just signed a 6-year deal. No team announced yet. What does that even mean? How does that happen? How do you not know where he signed if he already signed? It's crazy. Zach, what do you think about the Corbin deal?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Yankee
breaking.
fans.
Sorry, Zach. I have breaking news.
All right.
I have breaking news. Graz post-production, you're going to have to put a sound right here.
Got it.
Paul Goldschmidt has been traded to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
I don't have any other part of the deal.
I'll find the stuff. Just talk about it. I'll find
Paul Goldschmidt to the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, what other takeaway can you have? That's the biggest move of the offseason so far. The Diamondbacks don't have faith in being competitive this season. Clearly, Corbin's gone, Goldschmidt's gone. It looks like the Diamondbacks might be entering rebuilding mode too. You can pretty much bet on Pollock not going back there now. I don't know. I don't know what to take away from this. The Cardinals are suddenly going to be a force in the NL Central. This might be the move that they needed to jump back at the top of the division.
Yeah, I look at this more for St. Louis. I think this is a huge move. Like, people are sort of down on Goldschmidt from like the discussions.
That's
on
just
Twitter,
ridiculous.
Which makes no sense. And the fact that he's available by trade, and I'm looking kind of what the Cardinals gave up. There's no names that I'm like, oh,
it's just prospects.
Yeah, well, there's some major league, like 2 or 3 major league guys, but no one of them like they couldn't part with. To get Paul Goldschmidt, I think Ozuna is going to have a bounce back year, and that middle of the order is going to be really good for them moving forward.
Who are the names that are listed?
You got it. I got it right in front of me.
You can go, Graz.
I got Carson Kelly, right-handed pitcher Luke Weaver, and Andy Young, and a pick.
See, like Luke Weaver, good on. He's an arm, but you're getting Paul Goldschmidt, so this is a win for the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals. That's top 3 in that division. Damn. Well, that's going to be one of the best divisions to watch this season for sure. The Diamondbacks suddenly are like going to be neck and neck with the Padres probably for last place.
Yeah, and the only thing is Goldschmidt's a free agent next year, but I don't think the Cardinals care, and they'll have a good chance to re-sign him because it's a great baseball city, so maybe he'll want to stay too.
This is his contract year?
I believe he has 1 more year, and then he's a free agent.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know if the Cardinals suck, you have a trade piece at the deadline. He's not gonna suck though, so I don't know. I'm in like shock. I didn't expect that to come like just right this second. Paul Goldschmidt's one of my favorite players. It's crazy that anyone would be down on him. He's like runner up for MVP every single season except this season or last season. So excellent pickup for the Cardinals. A little bit of breaking news on this. That I don't think that's happened. At least not for stories that big.
Yeah. I mean, that's the MVP candidate changing teams.
Exactly. So. Yeah, that's huge. Diamondbacks. Wow. I wonder what they're going to be like what their next move is, because this isn't going to be the last thing. If you're getting rid of
Greinke.
Yeah, Greinke's got to be next. I don't know if he's going to be moved before the season or anything, but it's something to keep an eye on now.
Let me guess. The Yankees are on his no trade.
Yeah, they are. The Yankees are, Red Sox are, Cubs are, I think.
They have been wanting Zach Greinke for years, and he said no from like 6 different destinations that he's had. He's like, no, winning the Royals and the fucking Dodgers.
Yeah, so Dodgers. Let's ask what team is on Zach Greinke's trade list? Like the Royals, the Oakland A's,
the Binghamton Barons. I don't know.
Probably like Seattle. Seattle's probably on there. There's all these
weird
with
fucking Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins. That would be good for him.
So, question for
him
you guys.
CJ Crone.
Question for you guys. Now that Goldschmidt is on a team that is covered heavily, like he's not stuck out west with the Diamondbacks, the team that no one really cares about. Does Goldschmidt suddenly become a marketable? Like, does he become a household name now? Is the world about to find out who exactly Paul Goldschmidt is?
I think they're going to find out, and I don't think they're going to be like overly enamored with what they find. I think he's a pretty boring guy.
He is very boring. He's so boring. One of my buddies, shout out Salim. He's a huge Harper guy. Like anyone who's got like that flashiness to him, he's a huge fan of them. He shits on me all the time for being a Goldschmidt guy. He calls him dry wallpaper. Because that's exactly what he is. Like if you watch him play, that's what he is. He's so good, but he's the National League's Mike Trout, pretty much. He's just so good and so boring. No one gives a shit.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
Paul Goldschmidt will be one of the multiple reasons that Joe Madden will not be returning to the Cubs, because I think the Cardinals will win that division and Joe Madden will be gonzo.
Gun to head. What's the top 3 in that division next year?
Cardinals, Cubs, Brewers, and within like 3 games of each other. But
so you
they'll
think
all
Brewers are third? Oh, okay.
I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll all make the playoffs.
Wow, okay.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
go.
know if I'm ready to overreact to the trade yet. I mean,
I'm ready. I'm in. Goldschmidt's good.
Yeah, I mean,
Who are the Cardinals starting pitching? That's like my concern.
You're Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, my fucking hatred.
They have that guy who throws 109.
Yeah, but he's like an 8th inning guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a closer, and his job is to throw balls at players. He's pretty much Wild Thing.
Yeah,
Hicks, I think his name is.
Yeah, Hicks.
He's actually pretty filthy.
He throws 109.
Yeah. Who is their rotation? Luke Weaver's gone, so not him.
I'll look it
maybe
up.
there'll be players for someone like Evaldi, someone like, I don't know, Hap, Keuchel. Like, ugh. I don't know. Man. All right.
I'm looking up Carlos Martinez, Nicolas.
Okay.
Miles Mikolas, the Lizard King.
The Lizard King.
Those are actually 2
and
really good.
Way down the list is a 97-year-old AARP check collecting Adam Wainwright.
Can we just get rid of that guy?
I love Adam Wainwright, but he's literally 100. So,
in other words, the Cardinals could use some starting pitching before we declare them division winners, but they're on the right track. My 1, 2, 3 at this point, I still think Cubs. I don't know, something about the Cubs. I can't rule them out, so I'll go Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers. I think the Brewers just had some magic this last season. I think they'll come back to earth a little bit. That'd be my gut pick.
Yeah, I think I'd go Cubs, Brewers, Cardinals still, because I think the Cardinals still need a lot of stuff to work out.
Yeah.
Even though Goldschmidt's great, but baseball's a team game also. So
right. Do we have anything? I mean, back on Corbin, our Corbin discussion got a little bit derailed there by the Goldschmidt news. Do we have any more takes on that?
I just think it's crazy how there was reports of him. He's an upstate New York guy. He had a birthday party, I guess, and everyone was talking about how he's like shooing to the Yankees, and then he won't go to the Yankees because they won't offer him an extra year. I just don't get that kind of thing. So
it's definitely weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird. I don't understand that. This whole Corbin thing was weird to me. I didn't really know what to take away from it because I guess I don't know either what the difference really is between a 5th and a 6th year. Either way, you're signing a guy long term. It's a commitment. I don't know. I really don't know. But I can tell you I'm definitely shocked that he didn't go to the Yankees. And I'm interested what the Yankees' next move is going to be. And that transitions to this next topic pretty well. What does this Corbin signing mean for guys like Evaldi, Hap? I mean, the market, obviously, their market value obviously increases with this deal. Graz, I want to know from your standpoint, you didn't get Corbin. Are you eyeing Evaldi? Are you eyeing Hap? Maybe someone else?
I Hap would be my next good answer if they don't trade for someone. Because, the Yankees will trade 2 sticks for Madison Bumgarner. Because that's what people do with Cashman. I don't understand it.
True.
And I'm happy about it, but I still don't understand it. If they sign Nathan Evaldi, I'm going to become a Marlins fan. I fucking hate Nathan Evaldi.
Really?
Yeah.
Even after what you saw in the postseason? I mean, obviously you had to sit back and watch
that guy's arm is going to fall off. He cannot throw that hard for that long and not have it fall. It already did fall off. They sewed it back on.
Yeah.
I don't think Evaldi would sign with the Yankees after his experience there.
I agree too.
All right. So what do you think this means for the Red Sox? Obviously, are going to have a tougher time now signing Evaldi. The money, it might be too much. People are going to pay him way too much. We have a mailbag question about that later, so let's not spoil that one. What do you think this means for Evaldi? What do you think this means for the Red Sox re-signing him, bringing him back to Boston? Because I don't know if I like the chances of it at this point.
Yeah, unless he's going to take a team-friendly deal, I don't think the Red Sox have a shot. I think he was a mercenary. We pretty much used his last arm.
Yeah.
And we could just kind of ship him out and then let some team realize he's damaged goods kind of thing.
So, go ahead, Ross.
These organizations that we both root for are too smart to re-sign Nathan Evaldi.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true. Dombrowski is giddy for the guy. So recently we had the World Series documentary. They had like this red carpet thing, like the first viewing of it, and there were chants. I guess some fans were there too. There were chants. People were chanting at Dombrowski, "Bring him back." Every single time Evaldi came up on the screen, people here are hot for Evaldi. They love Evaldi, and I'll admit I was one of those people too, because what we saw from him in that World Series was amazing. In the moment, I was tweeting, "Pay the man, pay the man, pay the man," because it's not my money. I don't care. Just pay the man, bring him back. Realistically, it's a tough situation. I just don't see it happening. But knowing Dombrowski, it could be the one move he makes this offseason, and then that's it. That's all they do. So who knows?
See, I don't want them to re-sign Evaldi, but that's just my opinion.
All right, we'll get to that. That's a preview as well. So the next thing up here, actually, we already covered this, the JT Realmuto thing. I guess we'll all just pick a team here because he's on the block. I can't imagine him going back to the Marlins. Where do you think he lands? I'm sticking with the Mets prediction.
Yeah, I think the Cubs might have a shot to get him.
You think the Cubs, even though they have Contreras?
Yeah, I think they need a solid catcher behind the plate. I'm not sold on Contreras, and I think the Cubs kind of come in late on these kind of deals. But I would love the Red Sox to get him, but I don't think we have a succinct need for that right now. Our catching situation isn't great, but I don't think it's dire at the same time.
Okay, what about you, Gross?
I was going to say your Red Sox because the Yankees are going to do something big, and then the Red Sox will respond, or vice versa.
That'd be something else.
Like literally catchers. It's literally just out of the Yankees did something, we needed to do something.
Okay. How about Harper and Machado? Let's give an update there because there really hasn't been much to update with. I would say, like I said earlier, with Segura going to the Phillies, Machado, I just can't picture him in any other uniform at this point other than the Yankees. I think he just screams Yankee to me. Don't know if your opinion there is different, Cross. Harper, I'm still going to go with the Phillies only because the GM was like, we're going to spend a shit ton of money. So, and Harper's going to earn a shit ton of money. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah. If I had to pick a destination for either of these guys, I think Harper, either Cubs or Phillies, and Machado, I think Yankees or Dodgers in my mind.
You think he could go back to the Dodgers? All right.
I think so. Cause I think there was a report that Magic Johnson met with Harper. I think it was.
That's right.
In Las Vegas. And I think if they miss out on him, I think they'll back up the Brinks truck for Machado.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm looking through right now this depth chart of the Cardinals, and they could really use Bryce Harper in that outfield.
That's an underrated. We're talking about Corbin going to a place that no one really expected. I think Harper could end up there too because
they have the money.
Well, that too, but the Cardinals keep bringing up. People keep bringing up the Cardinals as like, Harper could actually land here. Look out for this. But everyone's overlooking it and talking about the Phillies and the Yankees. It's a very similar situation here as we saw with Corbin.
I like him there. And then Machado, I really think he's going to be a Yankee. They're going to trade Didi. I have a whole theory.
Okay. All right. So that's a good summary of everything that's gone down in the offseason at this point. I'll tell you one thing. It is a way more eventful offseason than last year's already. And we're not even in mid-December yet. So, I'm happy with everything that's gone down. I hope it's not even the winter meetings yet. So a lot is still going to be happening over the next couple months. And, again, we'll keep you guys updated on that. For now, we'll switch to the Graz mailbag.
I got some questions from your friends and my friends alike. All right, from your boy Curtis.
Yep.
Justin, your boy.
Big fan of the show.
He is asking about also your boy Nathan Evaldi. Is he being overvalued just because of his amazing postseason?
Absolutely. That's the entire reason he is valued, period. It doesn't I don't think he's going to be making the money that everyone expects him to make. I think Nathan Evaldi is the kind of guy who, he's going to be overpaid, but I don't think he's going to be getting the crazy money that everyone's like, oh, he's off the board, so there's no way he's coming back. I think he'll have a reasonable deal that is slightly overpaid because he was a god in the postseason, and you can't put a price on a guy who performs up to that level when it comes down to crunch time. When a guy can do that in October, you dish out a little bit more. His ERA during the regular season is still going to be around 4, like it is almost every single season in his career. I'm happy with that. Just get the job done in October. So again, it's hard to say overvalued. It depends what you value. If he does what he does in October, he won't be overpaid.
Yeah, my opinion is it's interesting. Like if he stayed on the Rays and he was not dealt, how much money do you think he left on the table if this Red Sox postseason run didn't happen? 10 million, maybe 15 million?
He wouldn't get signed till like March.
He honestly might have been out of baseball.
Like,
I'm not even joking because
he
said his ERA wasn't that great with the Rays. I mean, people just needed arms.
Dude, the Red Sox traded that scrub Jalen Beeks for him, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, Beeks could be something one day. Like now, it's like, thank God.
I know. Good for Evaldi. Like I want to see guys get paid. I don't want the Red Sox to pay him, but I'm glad to see he like is going to earn a good contract here.
He's just a A+ guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, Evaldi's the kind of guy you want on your team. So it's the character, it's what he does in the postseason that you can't put a price on. So if the Red Sox overpay a little bit for him, I'd be happy to have him back. We'll put it that way.
All right, next good old question here. What do we have? Oh, I'll stick with the Red Sox. From another question from Curtis. Kids just are peppering me with Red Sox conversation.
Yeah,
love it.
He's a Sox fan, kid.
Do your wicked Sox grab the car keys and win the World Series without John Farrell?
That was the most painful attempt at a Boston accent I've ever heard.
Yeah, it was also not a question. I just said words. Do they still win the World Series with John Farrell as the manager is the question.
No.
No.
Not a chance. Cora had the balls to do things in the postseason, like put Evaldi in for 6 straight innings and maybe his arm will fall off. Things like that. Putting Porcello in as like the setup guy. The things he did with the bullpen was just masterful. Farrell would not have had the balls to do that. No chance. And he wouldn't have had a team that played as hard as this Red Sox team played for Cora. They love him.
Yeah, Cora was able to do that stuff because the players trusted him and they wanted to win for it. Not for him, but, as a team unit. So definitely I agree with you. I don't think they would have won it with Farrell.
Okay, 3 more questions. One has already been answered.
Okay.
Shout out to Lou for asking and being an absolute fortune teller. Who's the next? Is Goldschmidt the next person to be traded? Yes.
Yep.
Next. Moving on to 2 of my all-time favorite questions this pod has ever seen. Ever. Okay. Justin, your boy, I can't pronounce it. That's not a name. Those are just
Viggs.
4 letters.
His last name's Vigliotta. Shout out Anthony Vigliotta. His last name's Viggs. I've never called him Anthony in my life.
You know what? I can't make fun of people for going by 4 letters of their last name, to be honest. Okay. Will baseball parks eventually evolve to be going underground or underwater, domes or in the sky, or even on the moon? It would be kind of sick to see things like this.
No. The question I'm reading right now. It would be sick. It would be sick to see things like that. He said he's kind of sick of the typical sea level and outside feel.
My question is, how would people get to the games? I think they're all great ideas, but
can I make this? I'm going to make this somewhat a realistic question. I'm going to try
to. It's not really what I wanted, but
okay. No. Listen, what I'm trying to say is I'll be open-minded about it. I'm going to get to the actual question in a second. The Athletics they're apparently going to have a whole new ballpark.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
I'm glad this question got brought up because it just reminded me. Otherwise, we would have left it off the podcast. That park looks so futuristic and just so different if it actually comes to be. I'm not ruling out parks underground and underwater in like 100 years. There's going to be some weird shit. Like they're going to have domes underwater. Like I think this could actually happen. I'm not even like, people are going to dig up this tape of me saying this in 100 years and be like, yeah, of course it was going to happen. Why were they even debating this? Weird shit's going to happen, man.
I feel like when I go to a baseball game, I kind of want it to be outside. So I don't like domes. I don't like underwater stadiums. I like the sky idea. I think that has some legs because people could get to the games with like helicopters and stuff.
I picture the first like weird underground or underwater dome or in the sky stadium, like the first experimental one being exactly like Tropicana Field, just in the sky.
I'm thinking of like
just a piece of shit that's just in the sky.
You know those aquariums where you like walk under and you're like looking over your head and it has all the fish swimming?
Yeah.
How about a stadium with the roof is an aquarium?
That'll be the Marlins next stadium.
Yeah, that's the Marlins.
Why didn't they do that? I mean, they did that stupid fish tank in the outfield or wherever that is. Or I think it's on the baseline or something. I don't know where. They had that stupid fish tank. Just if you're going to have a fish tank, you got to commit. Make the whole stadium an aquarium.
Yeah, think of the guy in that stadium that has a job of feeding those fish. He's like, fuck, I hate my life.
Well, it's like the at the Diamondback Stadium, the guy who has to clean that dirty ass pool.
Oh yeah, that's gross. And the Ray tank in Tropicana.
Oh my god, it's disgusting. All right, next question.
Okay, this is another all-time great question from Chuck, the biggest baseball fan I know. Congratulations, Chuck, you made it on air. Here's his question. Does Trevor Bauer have more or less brain capacity than Bradley Cooper in Limitless?
So it's Trevor Bauer's a weird Kate. Like, I think he's actually smart. Like, he seems like a very intelligent dude. But he's the dumbest smart guy I think like I've ever seen. Like, I don't know what goes through this guy's mind. He was actually speaking like really eloquently on MLB Network the other day. He was talking about the whole beef between him and Bregman. He seems like a good enough guy. I can't get a read on him. And then he tweeted out that thing about the how he got his finger stuck in a drone again. I don't think he actually did. I think he was doing that because he didn't want to be traded. I don't know. But to answer the question, I guess I'll go with more just to be like, I don't know. That'll be my answer.
I've never seen Limitless, so Bradley Cooper he takes pills, right? And he becomes like he can do
This is like your full brain potential. It's like the one with Scarlett Johansson.
So I think Bauer might have more brain capacity, but Bradley Cooper uses his brain capacity for good stuff, and Bauer just uses it for like building drones and like looking at spin rate on his fastball. So he's wasting a lot of brain capacity.
That's a good answer. I'd like to copy that answer.
Okay, I'm going to bring up another thing. You guys can brush this off. Bradley Cooper's interesting character in Silver Linings Playbook. What is his MLB comparison?
I watched that movie like 6 years ago. Whenever I don't know, like I have no idea. Refresh my memory. I know he's a big Eagles fan.
Issues?
Yeah, he has mental issues. He's a little crazy. He does
John
weird
Rocker.
things.
It's so funny. Like my brain went to the same place there. Like mental issue. Oh yeah, John Rocker. Yeah,
that's not a good question. I'm not ending on that one. We got one more. So another question which we were going to discuss. I asked you guys before of the meme, the one taught me love, one taught me patience, one taught me pain. Your baseball meme, your baseball version of this meme. I could go first if you guys didn't think of anything.
Can we give a quick, there might not be that many hip people listening to the podcast. It's from the Ariana Grande song, right?
I have no idea.
It is. That's where the meme
I'm not rad, as the kids would say.
Yeah, I'm just.
Isn't that a Chance the Rapper hat?
Yeah, it is a Chance. Yeah,
You're sitting there saying you're not rad. You're wearing a friggin' Chance the Rapper hat.
Thank you. Next, move on.
Okay, so
it's from Ariana Grande. Yes.
Someone else want to start here? I have 2 of my 3. I need to do a little bit of thinking.
Okay, I could go. I have mine set up. So one taught me love. And I'm choosing Nick Swisher, who loves the game of baseball more than any other human being I've ever met.
Okay.
One taught me patience. I chose Luis Severino, who might have been the worst pitcher I've ever seen, and then became one of the best pitchers I've ever seen.
And then back to one of the worst in the second half of the season.
Exactly. And then hopefully back. It's patience. I'm patient with him. And then one taught me pain. There was a lot of good answers. I eventually chose Poppy. Luis Gonzalez was on this list, as well as Sonny Gray, as well as Yankee fans that bother me and know nothing about the baseball Yankees.
Okay. Zach, you want to go next?
Yeah, so my one who taught me love is Vlad Guerrero. He really made me love baseball. Just free swinger, could do it all. The one who taught me patience, Red Sox fan, obviously, Manny Ramirez. I mean, cutting a ball from left field as a left fielder. He was a fucking idiot sometimes.
That play is so funny still. It still rings red. It's still the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Johnny Damon throwing with his pea brain arm. Like, just.
I'm going to watch that clip again after we record this because it never gets old.
Yeah, and I mean he was a great player, but some of the pitches he swung at,
When
definitely
he
taught
high
me
fived the
patience.
Orioles fan, or not the, it was at Camden, I think, but
Yeah.
I don't know, wherever it was, he high fived the fan and like threw the guy out at second. Dude, that was awesome too.
And the one who taught me pain was Aaron Boone hitting that home run off
Just
Wakefield.
fucking, you took mine. God damn it.
Yeah.
That's mine. Spoiler alert, that's mine.
Yeah. I think that's ingrained in most Red Sox fans our age for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, my pain one. Who taught me, what's the first one? Love. Who taught me love? You know what? This is a topical one. Adrian Beltre. He retired a couple weeks ago, and Adrian Beltre might be the most beloved baseball player of at least the last 20 years. I mean, this guy, name a guy who doesn't like Beltre, and I'll tell you a guy who doesn't like fun, doesn't like baseball, period. Beltre has so many highlights of him just being a joy to watch. I'm not even talking about his performance, which was obviously good, but just some of his antics. Instantly, there were highlights. No matter what he did, it was a highlight on Twitter. So Beltre taught me love. David Price taught me patience.
It's a good one.
Yeah, David Price is the definition of teaching patience. I think Red Sox fans, we have the tendency to not be the most patient group. A lot of judgment on Price, even though he was performing well, he couldn't get it done against the Yankees until, he finally performed in the postseason. Should have been, in my opinion, World Series MVP. So he taught me patience and then the pain. Since I can't think, I got to go with the Boone thing. There's nothing else that, maybe Bill Buckner. I wasn't even there, but we wouldn't have had to deal with the curse stuff if Buckner didn't do the thing, probably.
I think another guy that taught me pain, Johnny Damon, going from the Red Sox to Yankees, that kind of killed me inside.
I thought about that, but I honestly
too.
I thought about that, but I don't give a fuck about Johnny Damon anymore. Like that guy can go pound sand. All right, is that the show? You got anything else? Graz, you're the producer, dude.
Yeah,
you got
I
anything
produced
else?
great content. That was a fucking awesome.
You got
question.
one last thing, Graz? What's going on?
One last thing.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll give you. Yeah, I'll give you a goddamn one last thing. Did you see Dumb and Young hitting absolute fucking taters?
Yeah.
I think Justin, you retweeted it, and I saw it, and I watched that whole fucking video in Spanish. We'll post it. You got to check it out.
Yeah,
where is he?
That was. It was the Venezuelan home run derby. He beat Ronald Acuna in the finals.
It was
Delman Young.
Is there like some underground league that's going on where it's just like all the studs are playing? And
it's the Venezuelan baseball league, I guess.
Oh, really?
And then you got this will be Justin's one last thing. Hanley Ramirez is back to hitting bombs in the Dominican. You guys see that?
Red Sox should re-sign him.
Look out for it.
These guys are getting BP thrown to them in these leagues so they can just hit taters.
Can I call something now in December that's not going to happen until maybe like April or May?
Yeah, mark the tape.
Hanley Ramirez to the Rockies. You heard it here first.
Tuma's rolling in his grave. Well, he's not dead. Tuma's upset about that pick.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. All right. Well, that was a good show. I think that's all we got for now. We'll probably be back after the winter meetings, maybe. We'll see what goes down. I'm glad the Goldschmidt thing happened now, so we could get a little bit of that discussion going. But as we told you guys before, we'll be updating with new episodes whenever big shit happens. More stuff is sure to happen sooner rather than later, it seems. It seems like dominoes are starting to fall. So we'll be back, and thank you for listening. Please subscribe, rate us 5 stars, do all that. Follow us on Twitter at Tater Talk Pod. Like us on Facebook, and then follow us on Instagram as well. That is also at Tater Talk Pod. And we'll leave it there. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.